These are the tactics Man City could use to complete the remontada tonight at the Etihad. Obviously, we're 3-0 down. Obviously, it's basically going to be impossible, but this is what I think we should do to be in with at least a little chance. But we're actually going to start away from City. We're going to start talking about Real Madrid and how they're going to set up, because that affects how we should set up as our team. And I can't see a world where Real Madrid don't set up like they did at the Bernabeu, playing in the 5-3-2 low block for large portions of this game. They've got a 3-goal advantage. They don't need to go and chase the game, try and play football. Instead, I'm so confident they're going to sit in this low block that we saw be really effective at the Bernabeu and try and play on the counter-attack. Obviously, the key players here are Valverde, when they win the ball back, breaking really quickly down this right-hand side like we saw him do in the first leg, but also they have key players back, right? They have Mbappe back, who's just going to offer insane transitional threat up front. They've got Jude back, who not only is helpful, obviously, going forwards, he's such a talented player, really helpful building out, he's so calm in the tight spaces, but also so big for Real Madrid defensively in tracking these deep runners and defending the half spaces here. That's something we don't really consider, but it's something that Bellingham is way better at than Arda Güler, just adding that extra physicality to the midfield, which just makes it extra difficult for Manchester City. And I don't know if Mbappe and Bellingham will start the game. They are back from injury, but they're only just back from injury, so I would be surprised if both of them started, to be honest. I think maybe what we're more likely to see is Bellingham not starting the game and then bringing in this academy guy or Arda Güler or someone like that. But I think he will come on off the bench and he will have an impact there. So how do we deal with this low block? How do we break it down while also being aware of Madrid's transition threat and dealing with that too? And the reality is, I don't think we're going to deal with it. Real Madrid are going to have chances in this game, and that's why, despite me not thinking he's a really good goalkeeper, really, I'm going to go for Donnarumma in goal, obviously, because he is that better shot stopper. He is that big moment player. If Mbappe's through on goal, who you need someone to step up and make a big save, I think Donnarumma's the guy that's going to do that. And if we're to win this game and go through, he will be the man of the match. There's no doubt about that, because Madrid will have the moments with how aggressive we're going to have to play and with the transition threat they have. We haven't even talked about Vinicius Jr., Mr. Champions League, right? He's so good in this competition, and we're going to have to try and stop that. It's not going to happen unless Donnarumma comes up with probably like 4 or 5 huge saves, to be honest. So he's going to be absolutely massive for us. And then we're going to work from the left back over, build it out in the 4-2-2 or whatever formation I go with. And then from there, we'll talk about the in possession and the out of possession structures. And at left back, I'm going with Nico Riley, and I think that's maybe a bit of an unpopular choice. I think most people will go with Aït-Nouri. I think Aït-Nouri could quite happily come into this team for me. They're quite interchangeable, and we might even see O'Reilly in midfield instead. But I'm not going with O'Reilly in midfield, but I do want him in this team because I think he'll have a really interesting role in maybe stepping up alongside Rodrigo, which we're going to talk about later, and just being a bit more defensively sound than Aït-Nouri is. So that's why he's in this team. And then at left centre back, I'm going with another surprise because I don't have Marc Guéhi in this team. Instead, I have Ruben Diaz. I think he just brings that extra leadership. He brings that extra box defending ability, which we are going to have to do in this game. And we need that, right? You don't want to take risks with guys like Guéhi now. You need leadership, you need experience to be able to have any chance of getting you through this. And Diaz offers that. But the main reason Diaz is in this team is because I think Kushnov has to start. He just has to. They've got Mbappe, they've got Vinicius Jr. There's so much transitional pace there. You need some pace of your own to try and counteract that, and Kushnov is that guy. So if Kushnov has to start, I think that shifts Diaz over to the left. We know he's capable of playing on the left, and that's why they're both in this team, because Kushnov absolutely has to be here, which then brings me on to the right back, which is obviously Núñez. He was a massive miss for us in the first leg. I don't really know why he didn't start, because Kushnov offered nothing going forwards, which shut down our whole right-hand side. I don't think Guardiola will make that same mistake again. I think he'll go basic, go simple with what's been working, which is why Núñez is starting this game, and hopefully he's going to put in another phenomenal performance. Right, onto the DM slot now, and a lot of people have Nico. I've seen lots of shouts for Nico, which I think is crazy, because it's obviously Rodri. It's obviously Rodri. There's basically nothing Nico Gonzalez does on a football pitch better than Rodri, apart from maybe having a little bit more pace and being slightly better in duels, but even that's debatable. On the ball, Rodri is probably the best DM in the world. There's absolute levels to this, which is why Obviously, Rodri's in the team. And next to him, I've got Bernardo Silva. I'm not going with the double pivot of Nico and Rodri, but we'll talk about how that could work later. I just think Bernardo Silva gives you a bit more tactical flexibility in terms of being able to go over to the right side, play those combinations there, being able to play in the half space, do the defensive work really well. He's one of our best pressers. He knows that role at the top of the diamond press so well. Therefore, he's a must-have for me. Also, what he gives you in build-up, such an intelligent player, dropping in, creating overloads exactly where you need them. Yes, he's not flashy, but he's the perfect coach's player, which is why he's a must-have in this team. And I think most people would have some variation of this, right? The defense isn't that exciting. Everyone kind of knows what it's going to be. Where this is going to be make or break is the attack, because we have to score so many goals. And off the left-hand side is Jeremy Doku. Jeremy Doku is probably one of the best dribblers in the world, in my opinion. He's amazing, which is why he's in this team, because just the first 20 minutes at the Bernabeu, he was phenomenal, getting 1v1 with Trent, beating him. And if we want to score goals against a low block, you need your players who have that individual flair, that individual brilliance, and Jeremy Doku is absolutely one of those guys, which is why, again, for me, he has to be in this team. And I think we are going to go for the 4-2-2 kind of thing, which is why Cherki is also in this team. Yes, he's not great out of possession, which normally would mean I wouldn't start him in a big game like this because it'd be too risky. But here we have to take risks. We have to score 3, probably 4 goals, because Real Madrid will almost definitely score 1 to win this game against a low block. Cherki is a low block's worst nightmare. He's so creative, one of the best creators in the world, probably at the moment. So he has to be in this team. Again, it's non-negotiable, which leaves you with the 2 up front. Obviously, the big man Erling Haaland, dropping him is ridiculous. He's the best transition player in the world, probably the best striker in world football, comfortably a physical beast. Not having him in the team is silly, which gives you a choice of Marmoush or Semenyo next to him. I think you could go for either. I'm going for Semenyo. Both of them are pretty bad in tight spaces, so I don't think that's really a factor. And I think Semenyo just gets his shot off quicker. He gets his shot off more clinical. He's a better goal scorer, which is why I'm going Semenyo in this team. But I think you could easily go with Marmoush, and it wouldn't really hurt the squad that much. So this is the team. How will this set up in possession to break down Real Madrid's low block? And I think it will look something like this if we set it up quickly. We're going for the 3-1-6 again, which might sound risky, and you might say, why are you playing Rodri as the single pivot? That was so bad last time. This is stupid. But I think we kind of have to. We don't really have a choice. And I think having Nico Riley in this team gives you a really nice dynamic to why Rodri might be okay. Because here's what we're doing, right? Nunez pushing up, holding the width off that right, allowing Cherki to come inside into these pockets, be creative here. Bernardo Silva, Real Madrid have the back 5. We have to have 6 in the front line, which means unfortunately Bernardo can't sit here next to Rodri, otherwise we will create absolutely nothing. He has to push up too and play in here somewhere. Doku off the left, you want an overload on the right, get him 1v1 with Valverde, get him 1v1 with Trent, whatever. You want Doku isolated on this side, that's where he's at his best. I've seen a lot of people saying they want him to play in the pocket here. I don't think there's space to do that in this game. I think he has to be a wide winger, unfortunately. Haaland in the box, Semenyo in the box, goal scorers. But how are we going to stop Madrid's pace? Because this is the main problem here, right? It's not scoring goals. I think we're absolutely capable of doing that. It's the defensive stuff. And because we're having to push so many bodies forward, it is weak. And I think we might see this 3-1 structure with Rodri. It's the 3-1-6 again, but maybe O'Reilly just steps in here sometimes, and then it becomes the 2-2, and we take the risk 2v2 with Mbappe and Vinicius Jr. So I think we have to, because one of the biggest issues we saw at the Bernabeu was Rodri just getting overrun in the midfield. This was our structure. It was the 3-1-6, but if the ball breaks here, breaks out to, say, like Tuchmeni, it breaks out to Pritchard, immediately Rodri is what, like 5v1 in here? It's like, it's a rough place to be for him. He can't really cover all this space. So I think bringing O'Reilly next to him could be really important. And it might be a risk that we have to take going 2v2 with Mbappe and Vinny Jr. in order to maintain some kind of dominance, maintain that field tilt, and have the ball in this game. I think that's probably something we have to do. And that brings me on nicely now to the out of possession structure. And there's no two ways about this. This is a weak team out of possession. This squad in particular, starting 11, is extremely weak out of possession. But this is the risk we have to take to try and get back into this game. I actually quite like the front 3 pressing. I think it's really strong. Haaland, Semenyo, Bernardo, they're all really good pressers. They're going to be aggressive, force the ball out. But the problem with this top 11 in this diamond press is the second line of pressure. You've got Doku, you've got Cherki. This is the hardest job in this pressing structure because the jumps you have to make are just so big. For example, if the ball comes out here to like a Rudiger, Haaland's going to force this wide. Doku has to make that jump up really quickly to put pressure on the ball before Rudiger can either find that pass or he can find that pass. That's such a difficult job, which means in these two positions where Cherki and Doku are, you need like insane pressures, insane athletes to have any chance of getting the ball. This is the structure Arsenal use, and they have Declan Rice here, which is why he's so effective and their press is so effective because Declan Rice is amazing. Cherki is not amazing. Cherki is very, very bad at pressing, and that's not because he's lazy or that narrative. It's just because he's not really athletic enough to be great at it. Like, he doesn't cover ground fast enough. For example, if the ball comes out here, there is no way Cherki is making this jump to Huijsen before Huijsen can get his head up and find a nice pass forward. He's just not. This is objectively very, very weak, and Real Madrid will be able to play through it quite easily, which, like, makes you ask the question, do we do something else out of possession? And I think maybe we do. I'm not suggesting a new structure because that would be ridiculous. We've played this structure for months now. To change it suddenly to something new in a pivotal moment like this would be insane, really. But I do wonder if maybe Semenyo plays this role and you sacrifice a bit of pressure on the front line with Cherki here because it's a less important position. Play Semenyo here and let him make these jumps because Semenyo is a really, really good presser. He will be able to make these jumps. So I wonder if that's something we could see as well. And I want to explore another alternative now, because I've seen a lot of people saying they want Nico Gonzalez to start this game alongside Rodri. And I don't think it will happen, but I think it's an interesting concept of how it could look. And the main problem with it is out of possession, right? How would it look? And Bernardo Silva would have to come out, which is a massive loss. But I think if you do put Nico in here, it frees up Rodri, right? I think we see Rodri go forward and play this more advanced role, something which would be really exciting. And then Nico anchor it. He can cover ground slightly better than Rodri. Is better at Rodri at this position. So I think this could work. I don't think we will see it, but it's an interesting idea, right? Do you push Rodri further forwards in order to get this? And I think this would be really interesting in possession as well, because it kind of fixes our problem of Rodri being really isolated. My solution was this to have Nico O'Reilly a bit deeper and kind of have him step up next to Rodri and take that risk there. But I think having Nico in here means you can kind of free Rodri up. Nico can be this anchor. And then instead of having Bernardo Silva push up to make the six, you could push up both fullbacks, right? O'Reilly could go high on the left, Nunes could go high on the right. And then you just have both these guys sit in the midfield, just give that extra physicality. And having Nico here as well gives Rodri the freedom to step up a bit and show his quality in and around the box, which he is a fantastic creative player. I think it is definitely an idea. I don't think it's one we'll see tonight just because we haven't seen it before, so it's such a risk to do it in a game like this, but especially in the future it's an interesting concept to maybe see because we haven't seen it at all so far, and I think there's probably a reason for that, and it's because Bernardo Silva is so important, but I'd like to see it just to see if it does function at all. Anyway guys, that completes this tactical preview. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, subscribe, leave a like, leave a comment thinking if you like this lineup, what would you change about it and all that, and I'll see you probably tomorrow to do a breakdown of how we completed the remontada.